less than 23 hours, we're back in with another live stream, and this time we're going to be discussing a day 3 steal that the Patriots have selected during the 2025 NFL Draft. So in this live stream, me and Dustin will be reacting to Mike Reiss's article that was posted sometime around Sunday, and then we're going to be taking a look at some of his plays during his time at LSU, coming up right here, right now on the NE Patriots Talk channel. Let's go. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to another edition here on the NE Patriots Talk channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. And like I said before, we will be discussing who is Patriots rookie hidden gem Bradyn Swinson and why he might be a perfect fit for Mike Vrabel. So how are you doing today, Dustin?
I'm doing pretty good. I just left a job interview not that long ago, kind of testing the market to see what I can find. Other than that, just trying to stay cool in this really, really hot weather. I don't know how it is for you, but I think it's like 97 for me right now, so it's up there in the heat right now. It's terrible.
So as far as I know, up in Boston, it's like 100. We already reached the 100-degree mark. But I think that after today, things are going to simmer down a bit. I think it's going to be a bit cloudy and rainy, but it doesn't affect us at all, as we will be discussing some football. And before we get started with the show, please make sure, as you come in, please smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps supports the channel, and even turn on these bell notifications so you won't miss out on a future video or show. And throughout the show, please post in your comments and questions throughout in the chat so that we can read them and we will discuss them during our breakdowns and reactions to this article per Mike Reiss. And that's what we're going to be starting off today. So let's take a look at the Mike Reiss article now. So this was per Mike Reiss, and basically every Sunday he would always post his articles on his notes for what's been going on with the Patriots, and he started off with a Swinson story, which was really interesting. So before Mike Vrabel, before the draft, the Patriots were ranked last in the NFL with 28 sacks last season, which was completely disappointing considering that we never had a defense ranking that low in sacks. But Mike Vrabel decided he wants to have an attacking defense that employs waves of pass rushers, and the plan is to decisively avoid a similar fate in 2025, which I like that thought process. What were your thoughts on the initial thought process of let's go get an edge rusher, considering of how bad we were when it comes to the pass rush and the run defense in general?
I think it was a much needed move. We definitely needed, overall, the entire defense, really, for the most part, outside of our number one corner in Christian Gonzalez. We really didn't have a whole lot because of Barmore being out. Juwan Bentley got taken out within the first few weeks of the season because of a torn pec. And we just kept getting injury after injury, people not being able to be healthy. I think it was Duggar as well having an injury, Peppers having his offseason issues. It was just the defensive side, we just couldn't win. We were low on depth, and the depth that we had at the start of the season wasn't all that great. Our talent wasn't really there like we're used to seeing. It's nice to see we have a coach like Vrabel that's very, very adamant in getting some pass rush, really just overall defensive talent in the room. A guy like Swinson, from the videos that I've watched from between yesterday and today, going over some of his highlights, this dude, he's got some Vrabel in him. He is a monster. He's aggressive. He just attacks, whether it's a run or a pass or maybe a little option or something. The dude's always going for the ball. He's eyes deadlocked on the ball. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him so far, and I'm loving the direction that Vrabel is going with this defense. I'm loving the talent he's bringing in. I'm loving how we're looking like a complete different team. I'm excited to see what this team can do in training camp and throughout the preseason and the regular season. It's a nice breath of fresh air to see a staff that's actually bringing in talent to this team, something we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah, definitely on board with you. Like, I remember when we were doing like these mock drafts. Like, if I know that we wanted like some guys, like I was onto like Donovan Ezraku. I was favoring Landon Jackson, maybe a bit of Jack Sawyer or Cal Kennard. But while I was doing these mock drafts, I realized that Bradyn Swinson was a hidden gem, and he was projected at the time to be like in the third round. But surprising enough, I didn't think that he would like drop to like in the fifth round. But if I'm not mistaken, Dustin, the reason why he may have dropped to the fifth round was maybe a little bit of character concerns, especially like arguing with the coaches due to like production or something like that.
Yeah, it was from what I've gathered on it, it's just a bit of character issues. He doesn't take too well, it seems like, to authority on occasions. He tends to back mouth a little bit. He kind of just likes to chirp a little bit too much. I don't remember if he had too much issues because I don't watch a whole lot of college ball. I don't know if he had too many issues like actually on the field. I think they were more like off the field with the coaches or maybe on the sidelines. He's an aggressive dude. The dude, you can tell just from the way he plays. He is aggressive by nature. He's very vocal. He's very aggressive. He's very intimidating. Like the dude knows this too. He has an intimidating personality. I mean, the dude just like he's very he has his issues. It needs to be dialed in a little bit. I think a guy like Mike Vrabel though is a perfect fit for a guy like Swinson to really rough out some of these edges that he has. A guy like Vrabel is really not going to tolerate the whole back mouthing and talking back to coaches and doing this extra stuff on the field. Like maybe I do believe he had some instances where he got a little bit too aggressive going to the quarterback and ended up getting a roughing the passer call like every so often. But it's really just character issues, just him back mouthing and stuff like that. I think Vrabel though with that staff, I think he'll be able to really get that edged out, really get him to where he needs to go. He just needs some guidance. I feel like he needs the right guidance to get him down the right path and show him like the path he needs to be on to become the player he can be.
Yeah, especially when based off like the comparisons that you explain, it reminds me of like Jamian Sherwood for the Jets. Like he was a similar linebacker, and there were some issues that he had, especially with like these roughing the quarterbacks. Like I remember that Jets Patriots game where Jamian Sherwood was being reckless, especially going at Drake May and then leaving him out on an injury with a concussion. But with Bradyn Swinson, I know he did spend time at Oregon, so basically at least he knows, or at least he has played alongside with Christian Gonzalez during his time in Oregon. And then after those 3 seasons in Oregon, he got transferred to LSU. And I think that according to this article that Mike Reiss posted, it was said that when LSU implemented a similar defensive scheme last season, Swinson's career took off as he posted team highs in sacks, 8.5 sacks, which was 7th most in SEC. 36 pressures, tied for 5th in SEC, and tackles for loss, which were 13 tackles for loss. And the Patriots were hoping that ascension continues after being surprised that Swinson was still available with the under 46th draft pick in the draft, which was kind of interesting considering that I did not know who he was, but after me and Andy saw some of his stats on PFF, this guy, he could actually have the potential once it developed correctly. And it was also reported in this article that his stock might have also been affected besides some of these concerns, these character concerns, may have been affected from the Shrine Bowl and its inconsistent participation, in drills in the pre-draft process. And has referred to himself as a steal. But let's just hope that he can prove that he will be a draft steal and not mouthing like some of these other young players. But defensive coordinator Blake Baker said that Swinson's skill set and potential as a pass rusher made him worthy of at least a third-round selection. Surprisingly, he was a fifth-round selection. And this was what Baker told to ESPN, and I quote, "He has really good football IQ, and I think he understands when to rush the passer, whether that be from down and distance or clues from the offensive tackle. Then I think he does a really good job of setting up his rushes. Like a pitcher, he has a fastball, but he knows when to throw the curve and change up. He has good twitch and good length. His get off is really good and has long arms. Excuse me. He does a good job using his hands with his pass rush." And I think that the pass rush will definitely be improved since we lost Matthew Judon and Josh Uche. The edge depth has not been that looking of the best, but I would say that it's going to look better under Mike Vrabel, considering that last year's defense was completely miserable, as we all know.
Yeah, don't even want to get started on that. It was tough to watch at times. It was very tough to watch.
Yeah. So this was actually a clip from Mike Reiss on like how Bradyn Swinson was, working out with assistant coach, outside linebackers coach Mike Smith. And if we take a look at this play, I'm gonna turn down the volume. Let's take a look at his like mechanics. So what were your thoughts on his mechanic so far?
Yeah, that's about what I've seen in a lot of the highlights that I've seen. He seems to really favor that whole. If again, I don't know the techniques too well. It does look like another kind of like swim move. Maybe he does have a bit of a bull rush to him as well. He can definitely move some guys, like just straight up push them off of him if he needs to. But that does seem to be kind of his little kind of trademark, if you will, like his little old swim move, kind of getting that arm up and just passing right by. Because not only is he a pretty big guy. I mean, the dude, even with the pads off, he's a pretty big guy. But I mean, he's very athletic and very nimble as well. He has the agility, he has the athleticism, he has the IQ. He has a lot of natural talent. He's definitely got to work on some things because I mean, your swim move's not going to work all the time. You're not always going to be able to just push a guy away from you. You're going to have to get a little bit more creative from time to time. Hopefully working with the coaches, he'll be able to develop some more moves and sets that he can help him get by some of the protection. But he definitely, just with the raw athleticism right now, he's definitely got the talent. He just needs to get a little more technique. Not saying he's bad right now, because he's definitely, that swim move, it's been lethal at some times from some of the highlights, which we'll see here soon. But it just get some more techniques, continue to brush up on your move set, and this dude, maybe sometime next year, he really can be a force on that field.
Yeah, also Andy mentioned in the group chat, not like in the YouTube chat, but in the group chat, that Swinson in Daniel Jeremiah's like draft board, he was projected to be like 87th overall, and we got him at 146. So it just proves that even though that if we were like to pick him like in the beginning of the third round, that would have been considered as a reach. But since he was like undervalued in the draft, I think that he got the potential to be a draft steal. But like you said before, like I said, or like what was according to the article, like if he's developed properly and if he has the right supporting cast, supporting like coaching, then I think that he has the potential to be like a draft steal, and he could potentially be up there with some of the other edge rushers. But moving on to this article, it was also said that, like I said before, he has the benefit of learning behind Landry and Chason in New England. Defensive coordinator Baker said The Patriots' aggressive scheme to play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage should be familiar to Swinson. That was one of the biggest philosophical changes from when I came in as LSU's new coordinator, where the year before they really didn't. That's our philosophy too, and that's what he's best at. That was a big reason you saw the uptick in production in Bradyn's senior year. I don't think he's a guy that is just going to be able to sit there on the line of scrimmage and be able to do gap tackles and tight ends. It definitely plays into his strength, and that's what you really want to see, especially that we haven't had that kind of production nor have that kind of like defensive schemes last year under Covington. So I think this is actually going to be improved under Mike Vrabel and potentially Terrell Williams. It was also reported that where was it? Right there. Ryan Cowden, director of player personnel Ryan Cowden, said that he was a good backup in his first season with the Tigers, playing behind some good players, which is really what you want to see for Swinson. And it was also reported from Baker that he turned into a different player as far as practice habits, as far as the work he put in off the field. It was really, really cool to see him grow in a short period of time, Baker said. Experienced a 4th-and-1 stop against Ole Miss as one of Swinson's signature plays in 2024. He's very charismatic, got a good smile. He can win you over quickly because he's so intelligent. So, Dustin, what are your thoughts to like what Baker said in this article, considering that he is a different player as far as his like practice habits compared to like some of the other young players in the league?
I think it shows you that he's already capable of learning. I mean, I think it already shows you he's willing to adapt and become the new player if he needs to. Coming into New England, he's probably not going to see a whole lot of playing time, considering he's got guys like Chase On and Harold Landry ahead of him and Keon White ahead of him. We got some edge rushers. He's going to probably have a year to develop. But I do believe he's going to come in here knowing that. And that's really where it's going to determine if he can be a good player for this team, if he's going to be willing to take on that role of just like taking this year to kind of like develop more, learn more of the system, become that player that he can be. Because he's got a very good IQ, as you'll see in some of these highlights. When we get to him, you can see it. Like he's a smart guy. He's not just that aggressive meathead that I once thought he was from some of the highlights that I've seen when we first got him. The dude's got some football IQ. He knows how to make the right moves when he needs to make them. There are other occasions where I feel like he kind of gets a little bit too aggressive and he kind of like gets a bit tunnel vision, but that's like very, very few instances that I see. He's definitely a smart guy. I think he's going to understand his role in the team, at least for this year. If he can just keep his head down, not be all mouthy and whatnot, take what the coaches have to tell him, what these players have to tell him, what these vets have to tell him, and he just absorbs that and learns and becomes a better player, that NFL caliber player, the dude is going to be a force for years to come, and it'll be amazing. But it's going to be up to him. It's going to be up to him to really develop, and it's going to be up to him to really take the pace that the coaching staff gives him.
Yeah, exactly. I just hope and pray compared to last season that none of these young rookies like go on to social media and then just voicing their own opinions and act like some of those divas.
I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue this year. I think with Mike Vrabel in the building, I think he's going to have staff really not just his like coaching staff, probably the social media team if they really. I mean, of course they have one, but you know what I was trying to say. I feel like he's going to be having people really pay attention to what they're doing on social media, kind of like giving them some social media training, especially for these younger guys coming in that want to talk the big talk. Because guys that we had like last year with Mayo, he wanted to be a people pleaser. I mean, that's really what he was. He wanted to be that people pleaser. He wanted to be that guy that all the players wanted to come to as a buddy. He didn't want to have that like iron fist when he needed to, or like Mike Vrabel will if players get out of line. I'm not too worried about them jumping the gun on social media, and if they do, then I think they're going to learn really quick that Mike Vrabel's not going to tolerate that.
Yeah. Also, last question before we head over to the highlights. So, what are your thoughts on, like, since Will Campbell is also with the team, and considering that these two have been together during his time at LSU, what are your thoughts of, like, potentially, like, Swinson doing, like, one-on-ones with Will Campbell, even though we've seen Will Campbell and Keon White going after each other?
It really depends on how much they've done over their time at LSU. If it was pretty frequent with them at LSU, I mean, maybe they learn some extra things and then they pair them up every so often. But I don't think that's really the direction that they should go or that they will go. I think you want to try to put them up against people that they're weak against. People like how Keon White has a strength that is Will Campbell's weakness. You want to put them against somebody that they're going to struggle against in the NFL, so they can learn ahead of time of how to, like, so they can learn, like, oh, this ain't working. How would you say I should counter this? And then the other player comes up and say, well, if you're doing this, I would respond this way, so maybe you should try to do this instead. I think that's more the direction they need to keep going. I mean, maybe they might do it every so often. Maybe they might meet up at some point before the training camp and have some one-on-ones. It's possible they might have that chemistry. I don't know for sure, but as far as, like, actually in training camp, I would probably stay away from that direction, at least immediately. Maybe later on in the future you do something like that, but immediately I wouldn't look that way anytime soon.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too, because, like, it's important to, like, even though maybe, like, Swinson may go up against some of, like, these offensive tackles that could be like a huge advantage over, like, Swinson because of, like, his abilities and his skill set. But with Will Campbell, his skill set is completely different because he wants to go up against players that he could potentially be going up against in the league, like the likes of TJ Watt, the likes of Garrett, and then potentially Trey Henderson. But we don't have to discuss that because it's a crap show, and Cincinnati, we're not talking about that. But let's go over.
Wouldn't he? He would actually go against Bosa too, wouldn't he? Because then the Bills pick him up.
Yeah, they did.
So he would. Bosa is in the 30s, but he's still a really good edge rusher. So that would be something. That'd be something to see as well.
Also, him going up against Crosby, that's going to be really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's head over to some of these clips that you found, Dustin. And by the way, guys, these are the clips that you can look it up on YouTube. All of these will be linked in the description down below. And at the end of the live stream, I personally will be including some timestamps for, like, the whole entire show, not just, like, the specific plays, but also, like, the entire show. So if you, like, want to look at the article first, or maybe you want to look at some of these specific plays first, I'll really do that. And also that article that I just showed will be linked in the description down below. But let's start off with the first play, and this is from the New England Patriots YouTube page, and this first matchup is up against USC. So this is LSU going up against USC. So
what you're seeing here, you can see at the beginning of it, Swinson, I don't know if it showed the arrow or not, but he did have an arrow at the beginning of it when I was watching it. He's lined up over on the right side of the edge. You can see number 4 being his number. The start of snap, Bradyn's able to, like, instantly move free off the line. You can see how right there he wasn't getting he wasn't having no protection going against him. He picked up. It seemed like he had picked up like that on that pretty quick. Where it also shows his IQ, like, okay, nobody's blocking me. They're doing something here. So he just takes that step, kind of sidesteps a little bit, kind of looks to get a favorable position to see if it may be going to be a handoff by the QB or if the QB is going to keep it. Kind of you can kind of see where his eyes are. He's not looking at any specific player. He's looking more towards the ball, watching the ball really the entire time. And once he sees the QB start to do the handoff here, if you want to get it moving a little bit. Right here, you see him handing the ball off. He waits. He sees the ball going in the running back's hand, goes straight for him, brings him down for a tackle for, like, I think it was like maybe a 2-yard gain, maybe a 3-yard gain at most, but it was very little gain. Had he been one of those players that just, like, had that tunnel vision and just went straight for the QB, that run could have went for like 5-10 yards more. Who knows?
Yeah. Do you have any idea like why why Swinson did this? Like did the number one before he went after the QB, because I saw him doing like the number.
Yeah, that was actually curious on that too. I tried to look
like,
into
right
it
here.
a little bit, but I'm not really sure why he did that for. I don't know if maybe he had picked up something and maybe that's a cue or something he's given to the back of the defense. Maybe he's maybe that's some sort of signature thing he does, kind of like how Judon would if it's like face wipe thing. I don't know for sure. I didn't really find anything to read on why he did that. It could be I'm taking it up on as possibly a cue. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
it
like
could be
maybe
like
he's
a
picking up a one-on-one matchup. Maybe he was thinking of. I don't know for sure, but who knows? Maybe at some point you might find our answer. But I didn't see anything as far as like why he did that.
Thomas comes in. He says that it could be like an audible or something. Maybe like a I would say like a defensive.
That's what I was saying. Like maybe a cue to the back of the defense. Like maybe it's something they practice, or like he holds up that one. Maybe it's like a one-on-one matchup or something. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he's picking up one person. I don't know entirely for sure, but I just as far as I can tell, probably some kind of cue or an audible call or something.
Okay, so also Andy mentioned something before we move on. It's kind of related to like Mike Vrabel, but he just told me that Vrabel handles Calatrans far better than BB, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what that. I'm not really sure what that word means, or if maybe it's not spelled right. I'm not entirely sure. Me grammar wise, it's not. Me and English don't get along that well. But
okay, so I just look it up. It says that word recalcitrant, having an obstinate, uncooperative attitude toward authority or discipline. There we go.
Okay, then yeah, it's Vrabel. I mean, he has that he has that iron fist, but he also knows when he needs to use it and when to not. Belichick, he kept more of like that entire militaristic type of coaching style throughout his career because, I mean, it worked for him. Obviously, it worked for him. He's got 6 Super Bowls on his fingers, so I mean, obviously it worked for him for a time. But he never wanted to. He never wanted to evolve. He never wanted to develop. He wanted to stick to what he was good at. Vrabel is willing to learn from the players. He's willing to learn the habits. He's willing to learn the personalities. He's willing to learn like what he needs to do, what he needs to say, when he needs to say it, how he needs to say it. He's gonna be able to work with the players to the way he needs to, not like the players work with him the way they need to. It's gonna be the other way around. Vrabel is gonna. I mean, heck, he's talked about in an interview some time ago about how he was talking about he needs to be more involved with Drake May's learning process with like trying to get him to be more vocal and maybe doing it better with the snap count. He needs to help him with his leadership skills. And we know Vrabel is more of a defensive guy, but he's trying to get more involved with the offense and learn the habits of the offensive players. Everybody's different. Not everybody's going to respond to that militaristic style. You got to be willing to develop and evolve with the players and be able to coach them up in a way that's most comfortable to them to get the best out of them. Something Belichick just wasn't willing to do.
Yeah, exactly. And the way he expressed these messages to the players, it didn't resonate with any of these players, and we all know that in those report cards, nobody even liked Belichick, even after the Brady era. But because you're dealing with the new generation, and Swinson is part of this new generation, and obviously Vrabel wants to interact with some of these players, especially with the newer generation and even the older generation of players. So yeah, but let's move on to the next play, and this one I think is up against some yeah, South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
But in this play we can see that Swinson is not lined up and in the D line, and he's like within like the zone coverage or something like that.
Yeah, he's lined up off the D line. He's got like kind of like that center, maybe middle linebacker type of field of view. It kind of shows right there that he can play in different spots of the field. Maybe he has more than one area he's willing to play in. Maybe he has experience in other areas. It just kind of shows that not only is he an edge rusher, maybe he has versatility in different areas, lined up in different areas. It's nice to know that you can just put a guy like him. Maybe he might just be a purebred pass rusher, but it's nice to know you can line him up at different sides and give him different looks and put him up against different matchups to elevate his game to give him the best chances to make plays. But as you can see here, him lined up in the back right there, as the play is getting ready, you've seen him kind of taking those little steps. It looked like he was kind of trying to time it, which, as you can see, he timed it pretty well. Because as soon as he got up towards close to the line, the QB got the ball, and he just started rushing straight towards the line. Met with the left guard, I believe it was, or the center.
Let's take a look.
Go ahead and play it here.
So I know he was like slowly creeping in, and then just goes like after them.
Yeah, I think right as soon as he anticipated the snap count and he timed it perfectly. But he went up against the center and got between the center and left guards. He kind of like whooshed on by the left guard or by the center. Left guard didn't even pay him no mind, no attention whatsoever. And then gets through, is able to get right towards the quarterback. He's not able to really sack the quarterback, but as you can see, he got like right up in his face and is able to influence that pass. And instead of that possibly being a back shoulder pass to the receiver for a possible touchdown, it ends up being a lob overthrow, and it goes straight to the corner for a pick in the end zone. It's a little plays like that matter the most. To have a player who can just get up in the quarterback's face and just make him feel pressure. You don't always have to get a sack. To have a player who can just make himself be felt, make himself be known, like, I may not hit you, but I'm here, and you're going to know it. And he makes it known every single time he's on that field. He is such an aggressive player. And I feel like that's going to go so well with this defense, how they're taking a more aggressive approach. It'll really blend into Swinson's play style because he just goes straight at the ball, straight at the player, whoever has the ball, and makes the best play available as we've seen just there. It's awesome.
Yeah, that play, it wasn't technically like a sack, more of like I would say more of like a pass deflection or maybe a QB hit because, so as you said, he did time that well, like because he was anticipating of when the center is going to like snap the ball, and then he had his eye on the ball, which is something that Patriots could potentially need when it comes to the defense. And I think that Mike Smith and possibly Zach Kerr, acting defensive coordinator, and potentially if Terrell Williams returns, probably adjust to some of that. And then if he makes some of these similar plays during training camp and the preseason, that's actually going to be helpful in the long term. So that was from the first video from the Patriots from the Patriots like social page. You can take it out on YouTube. But the next video we're going to take a look at this. We'll start off with the first play against Ole Miss, and this was from the NFL draft room, if I'm not mistaken. And by the way, guys, all of these are from their videos. So basically, like I said before, I just want to make sure that I'm not getting a copyright strike or anything. We're just going to play it safe. So let's start off with the first play. I think it's at. Okay. Hold on. Let me just take care of this for a second, and then right here, somewhere right there, close enough. This was up against Ole Miss. So basically, it's hard to see where Swinson is, but I bet you that if on the right side that's Swinson, I think he's going after the quarterback, I guess. So it's hard.
If you want to, I think you might have my notes. If you could just take over for just a second, I gotta go check on my dog real quick. I'll be back.
Okay, so it was reported that Bradyn Swinson was lining up again in the left edge on the defensive line. So the thought process that I think the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, is Jackson. I believe that's Jackson Dart because if I'm not mistaken, Jackson Dart did play for Ole Miss. So I can see so you can see him on the left side. He's going after that right tackle, Unfortunately, you can't see the cursor, but I'm using the cursor right now so you can look at, so I can like narrate to you guys like what Bradyn Swinson is doing. But I think that Swinson on the left side going after I think he's going after Jackson Dart. I think so. Yep, just
yeah, that is him on the left side. As I have in my notes here, now that I'm back, I am sorry for having to leave like that. My dog needed to go out. But
okay. So
at the
we can
start
see
of the
from this
play,
angle. We could see it from
yeah,
this
you can
side.
see him. You can see him right there going up against that right tackle. You can see his number 4. That's how I seen him the first time I watched the play. But as you can see at the start of the play, going into his rush, he's going up against the right tackle there on the offensive line, kind of having that little one-on-one kind of tug of war thing going on. As he's starting, he kind of gets that bit of a big push on the right tackle and is able to get a little bit of breathing room in between the two, and he's able to get in between him and the right guard. And you can kind of see in that play where the right guard is kind of trying to get his hand in while he's blocking somebody as well, kind of trying to help that right tackle get him. And even with the tension of both the right tackle and the right guard, nobody's able to slow him down. Nobody's able to stop him. He's just able to get through that gap like nobody's business, and is able to get straight at that quarterback, which I do believe, it is Jackson Dart, if I remember correctly, and is able to get right up on him. And he almost got him for a sack, but Dart was able to get that ball out. I guess Dart knew where he was on the field. There was already a 2nd and 37 or 27, so they were already pretty far back. So he kind of had to get rid of that ball pretty quickly so he didn't lose any more yardage. But it just shows right there just the power, the speed, the athleticism that Bradyn brings. He is such an athletic freak. It is awesome to see just watching this man play. I could sit here forever watching this dude, watching him get sacks on QBs and just disrupting the offense, because the dude can be a game changer. He just needs to develop a little bit more. But right now, just what I'm seeing, just the athleticism and the IQ alone, it just shows what he can bring to the NFL here later on in the future once he develops a little bit more.
Yeah, Andy did say that there's a chance I think we might or may not play against Jackson Dart this year, considering that Dart was drafted by the Giants and we're playing against the Giants this season. So if Dart is
they have Russell Wilson, don't they?
Yeah, they do have Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Wilson, Winston, Tommy DeVito, and Jackson Dart. So
that's possible.
Yeah, it's an interesting quarterback class, but if it is up against Russell Wilson, this is going to be a fiesta for Swinson, but we have to find out how well he develops. So let's take a look at this next play. This one is up against Texas A&M. And let's take a look at this. No, this is not the right one.
Yeah, just try to get to like the 149 mark, because this play here, it had already started when I seen it. This is probably as close as you're going to get. As we can see right here, just kind of give me a minute here. Okay. So let's go back to the start of the play and just hold it right here. Hold it right here for a little bit. So here at the start of the play, we can see here on that red circle, that's obviously Bradyn Swinson. He's lined up against the tackle, going up against him, trying to get free. One of his teammates on the defensive side is able to have already gotten free and starts going towards the quarterback. Kind of resume it for like a second or two. All right here. You can kind of see how right there that defender is able to get some pressure on him. And the QB sees and he's like, I might as well make a play from my legs. So he starts taking off over to the left side. Swinson is able to pick up on it, and he sees it. And you can just kind of see it right there as we were playing it. He starts running, and once he kind of gets that right angle of approach that he needs, you can kind of just see it for a split second where his speed just like explodes onto a whole nother level, where he just like takes off, or like, okay, I know this is where you're going to be able to meet up if I kick it up a notch, so let's kick it up a notch. And he just speeds up, gets right to the QB for, I think, maybe a yard gain at most, if any at all, and gets him out of bounds. It just, that right there shows his explosiveness, his speed, how quick he can just like take a turn and get to the play as quickly as he need be. Kind of can give you a little bit of that whole side to side thing. Maybe maybe if we want to line them up on the behind the line of scrimmage or something like that, if we go up against a team where maybe they want to try some RPO or something like that, maybe like he's lined up in the back, sees the ball going one way, and he just takes off to it and is able to stop it for a very minimal gain. It just shows you like it's just the athleticism. Like there's a lot we can really do with him just from the few plays that we've seen. It's gonna be some more development, but yeah, there's a lot you can just watching here. If you really take the time to really analyze how he plays, it shows you just what we can do with this man if we just develop him right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that since we might be going up these type of quarterbacks that might be shifting to the left or right and having to use their legs, like Lamar, Josh Allen, you're definitely going to be going up against those two, and definitely Justin Fields because.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Because based off of the look at the play right here, we might go up against these similar quarterbacks in Fields, Allen, and Jackson. So this is what you're definitely going to be seeing if Swinson plays during these games. But
I could definitely see some packages where they could possibly put him in as a bit of a spy, or like Swinson, get out there. We're expecting a run here. Maybe like a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Maybe they expect like Lamar to kind of do like a fake handoff thing. Swinson, I just want you to watch the ball, see where it goes, and wherever it goes, you track it down. And some kind of package like that, maybe a crucial 3rd down or something like that. If he shows enough development, I could definitely see something like that.
Yeah. So we're heading on to the final plan. This one is up against Alabama. I think Milroe was still. I think this was up against Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, it was.
So let me. So in this one, let me just double check. Okay, right here, somewhere right here.
Yeah, this one right here. You got Swinson lined up here on the left edge of the defensive line. He's going up against the looking to be going up here, so against the left tackle. But if you want to play it for like just 1 second, you can see it right there how the left tackle just immediately shifts over, or excuse me, the right tackle. I'm getting my directions confused. You can see how the right tackle pushes over into the left. And Swinson kind of picks up on it like, oh, no protection? Okay, I just need to sit here for a second. And you can see how he's watching the QB, see where he's going to hand the ball off. And right here, you can kind of see how Jalen Milroe takes a ball. And Swinson right there is just not letting him make any sort of play at all whatsoever. He's not giving him any room to breathe. He's not giving him a chance to pass. You can see him as Milroe is trying to pass. He got his hands up trying to jump a little bit, but not too high to where he could continue staying on Milroe. And he stays with Milroe the entire time. He doesn't lose him one bit. And seeing Milroe seeing that he's just the guy like that, he's not going to be able to make a play. He just takes it close to the out of bound mark and just tosses it away for just a dead play. It just shows you the IQ of Swinson. Like he just takes his time to read the right play, and he makes the most of his play whenever he's out there. It's just nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. And considering that, looking at that play, I don't know if that play was an RPO, if I'm not mistaken, because if I look at the beginning of that play again, could this potential? Let's scooch back to that right here. Could this possibly be like an RPO, considering like just fake passes?
I mean, just from the start of the play, I'd read it more as a read option, but you also got to remember in like college, from my gathering of the little bit of college like that I know of, from what I gather, plays like that when it comes to like your RPOs, your read options and stuff like that. Most of those plays when they're out there to make those plays, whatever decision they make, most of the time those plays are already called at the play sheet. Meaning, like if he was to hand it off to the running back, it was called for that to happen. If the QB takes it, it was called for that to happen. Whereas in the NFL, it's more of an organic read where the QB is actually making the decision based on like what he sees on the defense. College may be getting to that point now where it's being more of an organic read, but again, I don't know a whole lot about college ball myself. But I mean, it's definitely more of a read option. He was probably trying to. He probably seen once Swinson was there in his face. He might have been trying to like maybe get a little punt fake on him to see if maybe he could have like broke free, or maybe he did see somebody open and wanted to try to force it in and realize it was going to be a bad idea. But it could have possibly been an RPO design, but I don't really know for sure. Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said before, Dustin, I'm vowing this upcoming season to at least watch some college football, just so that even though it might be early, it might be best to like get a head start on some like watching some of this college tape, because you don't know it, because like probably next offseason, because there could be some like players that we want to fill in, considering that the Patriots, we need a left guard, we need to potentially need a tight end, probably buffer some of the defense. Like I'm really excited for what we're going to be expecting on the Bradyn Swinson and the Patriots as a whole. But what are your hopes before we conclude this live stream, Andy? Dustin, excuse me. What are your thoughts on my bad?
You're good.
What are your hopes for like Bradyn Swinson and what he could potentially be doing before training camp and potentially the preseason game?
My long-term hopes is that he becomes a starter soon for us. But as far if we're looking at like going into training camp, I want to see him maybe get some different kind of move sets. Maybe at least one different move set. Maybe he picks up like a little spin move or something that helps him get him off the offensive line, to maybe get him some better looks at the QB. Maybe they line him up off the line a little bit, and they just kind of have him like read the play, maybe work on his pass coverage a little bit, maybe if he's willing to do that, but I don't know for sure. But as far as really like this season, if we're looking at this season and his playing time, he might get a couple packages, but I'm not really seeing him playing this year, because I mean, you've got like your Harold Landrys, your Keon Whites, your Chase-ons, your what was that guy from the Raiders that we picked up? I forgot his name.
Spillane?
Yeah, Robert Spillane. You got some veterans out there who can possibly play on the edge or just anywhere on the defensive line. You also got your Barmores, your Farmers, your Miltons. Right now, for this year, I don't see him really having a whole lot, except for maybe some packages where he comes in, or maybe he gets subbed in for like your Keon Whites or Harold Landry. They need a minute, kind of like take a bit of a breather for a second. But as far as for this year, I don't really see him having too big of an impact. I'd rather him just like take this year where it's just like develop on a skill set and kind of show off more of his IQ, just get his talents up there more, and maybe even see him some next year. I could definitely see him possibly making some strides next year if he develops in the right direction that we need him to take.
Yeah. Also, the word Gerard says, word is Swinson needs to work on ankle development. Maybe work on some of the I don't know what you mean by that, Gerard.
Yeah, are you talking about like just like getting some meat on his legs or something, or is there an injury
twitchiness or something like that? But
I don't know if he's got. Has he had any injuries? I don't know. I don't think he's gotten any injuries.
I don't think, or maybe just working on like the. But what he did say that he is a wrecker in a pass rush, but the run could be a bit questionable. I would disagree on one point by he's being small. He's more like your average like 6'4", because if it was like 6'2" or 6'1", then yes. But
I think he's 6 foot. I think last I seen his measurements, I think it was like 6'3" at like 245, 255. So he's got the right size to be a pass rusher, but I can kind of understand when he's talking about. If I'm reading his comment right, when he thinks of run defense, he's thinking of more like the interior of the defensive line, like your far more your Bill Moore, the guys that play on the interior side, your big boys. That I can kind of agree with to an extent. But I mean, those guys, I mean, they need some help from the edge rushers every now and again. We just seen like the first play where the first play that we seen against USC where he got off the edge like completely unprotected and was able to get to the running back, whereas everybody else on that defensive line seemed to kind of be stopped up a little bit. And had he not got to him, he may have got like a 5-10 yard game, maybe got a first down or gotten even more. There'll be some instances where he can possibly get some run defenses on the edge. But I mean, as far as like interior run defense, no, I don't see. We don't even need to bother with that right now.
Yeah,
and maybe we can develop them in that, but that would be out of the question. I really don't see that happen a whole very lot. Right now, I can see him maybe handling some zone runs if it comes up to him on the edge at some point. Yeah, sure. Interior runs, no, I wouldn't risk it.
Okay. Also, Gerard clarifies about his like ankle development. He says that his ankles are a little weak and need to strengthen them more. Are you talking about? So basically, to clarify, his ankles are kind of like not like strong, not like.
I'm thinking from how I'm getting this, when you're pushing up against like the offensive line, where you kind of have like your feet planted, if you don't have like a steady base or a strong base, you can possibly do some like your damage to your calf or your ankle. Maybe have like it slipped out under you, and it just can kind of have some damage there. I could kind of see that. Your point being, I mean, I wouldn't have got as Achilles is going for like ankle strength, but I mean, if it's something that he definitely needs to work on, I mean, and all for it, yes, please work on it. I would hate for him to like go up against a lineman where he just doesn't have a good, strong enough base, and like his ankle comes out from underneath him, or he takes or he has like a little injury to his calf, or God forbid he gets an MCL tear. Like that would be terrible. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I get if that's something he needs, then yeah, please work on it. But I don't know anything about like his ankle strength. I don't know anything about that, or even where to look for something like that.
Okay, so basically Andy looks up on PFF saying that his run defender is more like a 70.5, so it's not that bad, I would say, but probably it could be definitely improved. But then again,
but that being a college level, I would probably say his just to give a rough mark, his NFL grade would probably be somewhere around in the 50s for run defense, which I'm not too worried about that right now. Again, I'm more worried about him. I want him to be more of like that pure breed pass rusher. Like I want him to like have his pass rush worked on to where that's like his main strength. And then like once you get that developed and you get that right, then maybe mix in some like little run defensive schemes or something like that, some run defensive moves, or maybe help him work on his weight, or I don't really know a whole lot about like his whole weight and situation. I don't really know what he would do there. That I would leave up to like the athletic trainers, staff, and all that.
Yeah,
exactly.
What they
need to do with him.
This is great, guys. Keep posting your questions. We're quickly gonna be doing like a Q&A segment. Just want to read some. Just want basically you, Andy, and Gerard, or maybe Thomas. You can post some of your thoughts. As so, if I'm not so Gerard did say that Swinson is not exactly like NFL ready, but he says that when he fights against the offensive line, he might have trouble. That's the concern. If it's up against like these weak right tackles, because there's not I don't know if there's like any like good right tackles that we might go up against, but but considering that we have an easier schedule compared to like the previous 2 seasons, but if this is a concern, that it's development is key. There's nothing else to say, because he's not like bound to be like your immediate starter. He's going to be like a developmental. He's going to be behind Chason and Landry, so he's going to be. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, that's what a day 3 pick is. He's your developmental piece, and we got so many pieces ahead of him. Just let him have this year to develop. That's really all he needs. Just give him this year to develop. As long as he's not fighting you on it and causing any problems, it'll be all good. I mean, yeah, you can have some packages for him, but I wouldn't bother too much like trying to play him anytime soon, like at the start of the season or anything.
Also, this is going to be a final one, and then we'll call it for the day. He asked that Swinson was a lot stronger in his pass game. Seems to be his specialty, almost like a. Would you compare Swinson to like your Kyle Van Noy?
I mean, Maybe. I know Calvin Noy did have a bit of an impact when it came to the pass rush. That was more or less his specialty. I mean, he didn't really make much of an impact outside of that area, and that's pretty much dead on the head. That's what he is. He's a pass rusher. He is a pass rusher. That's what he is. It's just a matter of developing him a little bit more, getting the skill sets, get him the moves right, and just when he gets all when he gets the skill set developed and he has the playbook learned and we feel he's ready for it, or well, when the staff feels he's ready for it, then he'll get out there and play. But yeah, he's gonna be out there in like probably more pass rush, like in a pass rush scenario, like in a for sure passing scenario, like your 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 15s, maybe like your 2nd and 15, stuff like that, where you know it's gonna be a pass. Yeah, that's when you'll see him out there.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, he did just try to say that he looked promising. I like him. Just want to express his concerns. You have to sometimes you got to focus on his strengths and his concerns, because at the same time you want to take advantage of your strengths, but at the same time take some of these opportunities to focus on your weaknesses. Like he needs to focus on like getting past the offensive line some more, because he's not bound to be like a Matthew Judon or something like that. Maybe like, but if he improves by like, I would say like year 2 or maybe towards the end of year 1, like when we go up against like the Bills, Ravens, Jets, and Dolphins towards the back half of the season, then maybe we could see like maybe he could be like improved. But at this point, he's behind Landry and Chase on for now, so I think that he should be fine. But that's going to be it today, guys. Thank you guys as always. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Andy, as always. We'll be back on Friday night. You and me, Austin, and Andy, to discuss some Patriots positional grades based off of how well they performed through training camp and mini camp and OTA workout. So should be exciting for that. So that's going to be on a Friday around like, I would say like roughly like 7 p.m. And I just got to find out what my work schedule looks like before I jump to conclusion. But I'm going to say roughly around like 6 or 7. So be excited for that. And then Monday, we're going to be doing another 53-man roster. So now that we know what all of these players look like and some of these changes, yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's live stream. Please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely supports the channel as you leave the live stream, and always turn on these notifications so that you won't miss out on a future live stream. And as always, go Pats.
Go Pats.